Morning, Jim.
Morning, Jim.
Good morning, Jim.
Morning.
Got a chunk of his forehead out this morning. Shaving this morning?
You have to learn to watch where you're walking.
You don't see your eyebrows, that's what happens.
Oh, it is 9 o'clock. It's 9 a.m. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the weekly Cuyahoga County Board of Commissioners meeting. It is April 17th, Tuesday. With that, we'll begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Brenda, is it your turn?
Yes, sure. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Luke is on his way. After a reprimand.
Couple of housekeeping chores. If you have a cell phone, please silence it at this time or turn it off. If you do get a call and need to take it, please step out into the rotunda so you won't disrupt whoever happens to be speaking at that time. Also, and I don't know if we have to repeat this at the beginning of every meeting, but it only takes 2 or 3 seconds just to tell people that this meeting is streamed live. And so if you do address the board, more than likely you will be on camera, or you will be on camera for sure, not more than likely. And just a heads up so people will know. That being said, I would look
Make
for
a motion to approve the agenda.
I have a motion to approve the agenda
Second.
by Hatton, a second by Van Duzen. Any discussion?
If there's anyone here for the open, did you want to mention that?
Yes. Is there any other discussion? Is there anyone here for the open that would like to address the commission at that time? Seeing none, then all in favor of the agenda indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. About the minutes of the April 17th meeting.
Move to approve as
We have a motion
emailed.
by Hatton, second by
I'll second it.
Gable. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Number 4 on the agenda then is a public hearing to vacate a public right-of-way in the town of Vera. And now the most interesting part of this is where the heck is Vera? Come on, Luke. But we think we know where it's at.
I think we've all been there.
We probably have been there, but we missed it. Just blinked or something. Suburb.
Did you order the new signs for Vera?
Would you describe it as a suburb of Confesca Village?
Yeah, it's a suburb of Confesca Village. Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.
Luke, I'm not sure. All I've got scheduled is a public hearing.
I can't
Don't
pay
have any
their voice, but I didn't
scheduled.
realize that's where I was at.
Oh, okay, yeah, yep. Just a public hearing.
Yeah,
I suppose we probably will have to just formally schedule an action. I need to think
okay,
about
all right,
So we'll have to do it next week.
that. We can, yeah.
Okay.
We can do that. I mean, it's,
okay, yeah, I just noticed,
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't either.
But according to the agenda, we need to follow the agenda, so at this time I will open it up for a public hearing. That would be the proper procedure at this time, I think.
Sure, I'll give you a rundown of it.
Yes.
And so that, and anybody else here who is critically concerned about it, so that you can understand what this is about. I am going to avoid the, I guess I'll do it, yeah, good point. What we've got is an application
It's on.
to vacate the right-of-way of what's called Amos Street in Confesca Village. It references the town of Vera because Confesca Village was previously known as Vera. The initial plat of the incorporating the what you would call the village of Confesca was initially called Vera. a subsequent plating ultimately called it Compesca, and that's why we're that way. Going into history more, I think that there was actually a Compesca elsewhere in the town. That's why in the county, I should say. That's why it wasn't Compesca at the time. So this plat here, this action is a recommendation to, or actually it'll be an action to vacate a stretch of what's called Amos Street. And the street is, as you come into Compesca Village, for those who are familiar with Compesca Village, you come in on the county road.
From the north.
From the north off of Highway 212, generally speaking. And then there's a stretch of street that's called Compesca Drive that runs off to the east and into a subdivision, and then comes, I guess I should say, as you would come from the north, you have a Compesca Drive runs to the west, and it just loops around to the west down to the County Road 173rd, and then Compesca Drive jogs, comes in to the south of where this Amos Street would be. Amos Street was one of those that was originally platted with the town, and it was never really, it has not been used for well over 5 decades. So what we have is an application by the property owners that touch this right-of-way to vacate the right-of-way for the stretch of Amos Street that is adjacent to theirs. One of the individuals would like to build a shed on what is currently the right-of-way, and of course it's considered a front yard because it is a right-of-way even though there's not a road. So we'd like to decrease that setback, put the property line there because nobody has been using it. It's a non-user street. There were no objections at the public hearing that was held at the county, or at the Planning Commission. And the Planning Commission ultimately recommended approval subject to one thing, and that's that this street is not on the county road system. The county does have the ability to vacate a road that's not on the county road system. However, it's this county's practice to at least offer and ask if the township would like to take it up first. And in this case, we received a letter from the township indicating that they would support the county vacating the right-of-way, but they didn't want to take it up themselves. So that's why it's in front of you.
All right. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this? Anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this? Anyone? Seeing none, then I'll close the public hearing at this time and open it up to any of the commissioners. Does anyone here have any questions?
I have a question. So when this is vacated, the property automatically goes to the heirs or assigns of the property that it is adjoining or touching or part of that?
Correct.
Okay.
So it'll go to the center line of that right away.
Okay.
And the only thing I would say is that we will put it on the agenda for next week to take action to get the job done, all right?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Luke. All right, let's go on to item number 5 then, action to approve a plat
Luke.
resolution of the Henricks addition in Leola Township, and that is in your, Luke's handing it out. I thought there was something.
You know what, Luke, you did send it.
Did I?
It was that long ago.
Yeah,
All right, well, then, it is in your packet.
yeah, that's in your packet.
All right. Well, I will just discuss it then in this case. The plat is a plat. It's Henricks Edition in the southeast quarter of Section 4, Leola Township. This is north of Punished Woman's Lake, right on about a little over a mile. It's the very northern mile of the county. Property is owned by Henricks. It's going to be used, it's a 5-acre parcel to be used for a house for the son and daughter-in-law of the farm owners in this area. Were granted a farmstead exemption according to the rules of the county, and the condition was that they plat it before they get building permit for a house. And that's what they're doing, is they're platting a 5-acre parcel so that they can get a building permit for a house.
And
Make
that's
a
been
motion.
approved at the planning and zoning meeting.
Correct.
I'd make a motion to approve the plat of Henricks
We have a motion by
Edition.
Hatton, a second by Waterman. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, that takes care of that. Let's go over the monthly reports then. Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.
Emergency management, Jim? Good morning again, Jim.
Good morning.
Morning, Jim.
Susan's back. Okay, we'll get started here. First of all, just wanted to kind of review a letter that we received from the state in reference to the state and local agreement. You should have probably got a copy of that letter that we received and the changes that they're proposing for the funding agreement. And basically, what's changing is that we were allotted X number of dollars under the state and local agreement, and that money was used to reimburse to help support the wages of the emergency management director and the assistant here in Cottington County. And if there was money left after that, we could get paid for expenses. Well, under this new funding agreement that they're coming up with, they're going to cover the wages. And if there's money left, they're going to cover administrative expenses for attending state meetings. But our expenses, no administrative expenses will be allowable under that. And the way it's going right now, pretty much the money that was allotted to us in the past was taken up by the wage portion of it anyway. We didn't see a lot of money, that we had available to us for expenses. So, just so that you understand that, and is there any questions on that SLA letter that we had? Okay, I'll go on with my monthly report then. I'll be attending the City Department Head meeting on May 3rd at the Watertown Police Department. I'm invited to that meeting each month, and this month I've been monitoring lake and river levels. Also, we've been distributing some sandbags the last couple of days. There's a pile of sand that the City Street Department hauled out to City Park for use. And we put on the radio stations and the newspaper also that people can contact emergency management, and we'll get sandbags to them, and the sand's available for their use there at City Park. Tomorrow we'll be taking part in the statewide tornado drill, and we'll be testing all the sirens in the county. And that's going to be approximately at 10:15 a.m. is when that simulated tornado warning will be going out, and then we'll be sounding all the sirens. And we have a person assigned to each siren out in the county to watch the sirens and make sure that they activate and they rotate and everything as they're supposed to. So that'll be tomorrow morning at 10:15. Also tomorrow, the same time as our tornado drill, we're having an airport disaster exercise out at the airport. So I'll be assisting with that exercise out at the airport tomorrow. On May 2nd, I'm going to be hosting a Train the Trainer class that will be out at Fire Station number 2. That Train the Trainer class is for the state radio communication system. So the law enforcement agencies, the fire departments in basically the northeast corner of the state are invited to attend this training session about the state radio, digital radio system, just to do updates and so forth. I haven't seen what all is going to be covered. I haven't saw the curriculum, but we will be hosting that class on May 2nd. On May 4th, we'll be doing generator maintenance, and we'll be doing the generator here at the Law Enforcement Center, the one out at the Cottington County Extension Center, and also the one at the Search and Rescue Building. And that's on May 4th. Our generator maintenance man is going to be in town doing that. On May 16th, I'll be attending the Watertown Fire Department Advisory Committee meeting. That'll be over at Fire Station number 1. And then on May 18th, I'm on the advisory board for the law enforcement program up at LATI. And on May 18th, I'll be attending a meeting for that advisory board. On May 21st and May 22nd, we'll be hosting a class over at the Watertown Police Department, and that is a medical response to a bombing incident class. It's for medical personnel, the paramedics at the fire department and other EMTs in the northeast corner of the state. A lot of those people in law enforcement will be attending that class over at the Watertown Police Department. Again, that's on May 21st and 22nd. And currently that class is full. We've got 40 students registered for that class, and we've got, I think, 5 that are on a waiting list to get in if anybody cancels out. On April 3rd, this is search and rescue team information. On April 3rd, the search and rescue team responded to a vehicle in the water in the Big Sioux River south of the Dakota Sioux Casino. That was on April 3rd. We assisted with getting the vehicle out of there and getting the driver out of the vehicle. Everything went fine there. Driver hit the water on that low crossing, and the vehicle went off the road and into deeper water. So it was the young man was lucky that it turned out the way it did. On April 9th, the search and rescue team assisted law enforcement out at Pelican Plaza for the incident that we had out at Pelican Plaza on the 9th. On April 17th, we had a Chamber of Commerce group that toured our search and rescue building, and I was out there for the 2 groups that went through. It was very well received, and you know, had a lot of good questions from the group there about what we could do and what we couldn't do and so forth. Also on May 17th, we had a countywide fire chiefs meeting. Doug Kranz, the fire chief at the Watertown Fire Department, organizes these meetings, and we have these quarterly so that we can sit down and talk about you know, their needs, also training that we could have and so forth. And that was our quarterly meeting we had there on the 17th. On April 21st, search and rescue team, this last Saturday, search and rescue team helped with the Northeast Fire School that the Watertown Fire Department hosted out here at Fire Station number 2. And we assisted by filling air bottles for their live fire training out there. And it was also a very good training for us because some of our younger members, we had the opportunity to train them on how to fill air bottles out there at the training site. So it helped the fire department, but it also helped us with training. On April 22nd, on Sunday, we were called, search and rescue team, we were called to the Big Sioux River on 10th Avenue North for a kayak that was found in the river, and there was no one around the kayak. We were searching for a possible victim there, and come to find out they had a little kayak accident, and they'd left the kayak behind and left the area without calling law enforcement to let them know. So we spent some time out there, about an hour we spent out there looking before we found out, you know, that the person that had been in the kayak was all right and was at home. Yesterday, I was assisted, I was out at fire west of Medicine Lake, about 1.5 miles. We also had another fire over by Henry, but the grass, you know, we've had all the snow and everything. The grass is extremely dry on top, but underneath it, it's just, there's mud. It's mud. That snow melted in that, this is all CRP grass that was burning there yesterday. That was out of control, and it was really muddy underneath the grass, but the grass was burning very fast and hot. And then the last thing I have this morning is we have been monitoring the river levels, as I said earlier, We're distributing those sandbags, and if anybody needs sandbags, they can contact me either by my cell phone or at the emergency management office. And the sandbags, we've been distributing the sandbags at no charge, because the sandbags I'm distributing right now are ones that were given to Cottington County back after the flooding on the Missouri River here a few years ago. So they were at no cost to the county when we received them. So we've been distributing those sandbags for free, and we haven't given out a lot yet. Probably 400 to 500 is all that we've distributed so far, and that's probably on the high side. Any question?
Jim, what are we looking at as far as additional flooding? I mean, what do we have to look forward to as far as the river?
Right now, the river is crested.
Okay.
Yesterday afternoon, the lake level and the river level equaled out. They leveled out. Yesterday afternoon, yesterday morning, I could tell that there was still a little bit of water coming into the lake, but it was very slow. Yesterday afternoon, it was just like a glass. There was no movement of water either direction. Now, overnight up at the Dakota Sioux Casino, the river has dropped approximately a foot. And so as the river continues to drop, you know, we're going to start to see that flow of water coming out of the lake and into the river. So the water level through Watertown will probably recede slower, because you know, now we're going to start emptying the lake into the river, and all the water that's coming down from the north combines with the water coming out of the lake. So that'll probably keep the water level in town a little higher. Okay. The lake, though, I don't foresee the lake coming up at all anymore, unless we would get, you know, some major precipitation. But I do have a concern about, you know, shoreline damage and stuff with the ice. We're approximately 2.5 feet above full right now. And so with the ice going out, as you know, if we get some high winds as the ice is going out, it'll push big chunks of ice up onto the shoreline. So if there's any structures that are close to the water, or you know, even the shoreline, those big chunks of ice can cause some damage. So we'll monitor that. There's not really anything that we can do about that. That's, you can't stop a, you know, 1,000-pound chunk of ice. It's just when the wind is pushing it and the whole ice flow is pushing it up on the shore, there's not much that we can do about it. But we are monitoring that and the river levels. But the river's looking pretty good right now. It's going down.
Yesterday was about 50 feet of open water around the perimeter of the lake. So the ice will go pretty quick.
Hopefully it goes, and it's nice and warm, and there's no wind when it does.
Actually, we've had
Dealing with pretty windy conditions today.
Yeah, we've had some pretty ideal conditions here, with the cooling down at night and then warming up in the day and the cooling down. I can really tell it with Gravel Creek out there. It really makes a lot of difference.
Right.
That helps.
Gravel Creek's one of the creeks that have stayed up fairly high, and then further north, you know, that coming out of Grant County, those creeks up there have stayed fairly high. There's more snow up in those hills.
We still have snow up there too.
Yeah.
There's still some snow there. Yeah. Anything else? I do have one thing. Jim wasn't here last week, and I did read the letter to the commissioners in reference to the mitigation plan. You passed with flying colors, and we got to give you credit because you're the one that did that. And
well, we have to give credit to First District. They're the ones that
First
did
District.
the most of the work on that.
Under your guidance.
Thank goodness, because that's a massive undertaking. They're rewriting those plans.
And it's good for 5 years now.
That's correct, right. So
Congratulations.
So this 5-year cycle, just so that I can remind you, is that after the second year, probably in that third year, we need to start applying for funding again to rewrite the plan, and then in the fourth year we are rewriting it so that it can be effective in the fifth year. So,
and the thing, that's countywide.
That's countywide. Yep. That's all the municipalities and the county itself.
So all of the community surrounding should be thanking you as well.
Yeah, we got it
bet.
done
Yeah,
for
thank
another
you.
5 years.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Anything else for Jim? Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks for coming
Have a
out.
good week.
Sunday.
Let's go on then, Brad, Cottington County Sheriff. Brad must be running for something. He's got so many signs out there that we got the green plague out there. We got an army out there putting signs up for you?
Yeah, we got
Holy cow.
All right, we'll pass out the sheets here. Got one over there. Got an extra one for you if you want this time. Yeah. Thanks, Brad. All right, good morning.
Morning.
We'll start out with the monthly balance sheet for March. If you look there, the bank balance end of March 2018 was $10,497.31. And then if you jump down a little bit there, copy fees collected, we collected $28 in copy fees. Sheriff's fees collected, $9,279.81. And warrant fees collected, $600, for a grand total of $9,907.81. You want to jump over to the next page there? I'm sure these got it pulled up on the big screen already. Monthly report for March. Sheriff's Office activity in March. The Sheriff's Office responded to 493 cases and calls, responded to 10 accidents, 73 warrants were served, 263 civil papers were served. We did 3,763 miles of transports, that equals 20 transports. And if we jump on down to some of the jail activity there,
And that's 162 on that far right number. You can't see that one very well. No, I see that, yeah.
for March, our average daily population was 63.39. Our high average daily population was 73. You want to scroll down?
Oh, sorry, yeah, that's right.
And then you
Just
see
got
that.
so interested in the graph.
The low average daily population was 55. On the Scram bracelet, we had 37 people. We had 50 people on twice daily PBT. We had 74 people on the twice weekly UA. And then one person on the sweat patch. And we did 308 bookings for March. That's 162 people that are on the 24/7 program in March. You see that's kind of jumping up quite a bit there.
Can I make an observation on that,
Sure can.
Mr. Chairman? It's interesting if you look at the 24/7 numbers going up significantly, but it's nice to see the ADP creeping down a little bit, and maybe there's a connection. It's hard to say for certain, but
Well, also with the amount of bookings is way over what it's been for
Yeah.
quite some time, and then our ADPs are still kind of staying within reasonable range, so.
yeah.
Yep.
And I think it might be good to mention for people's information, when we originally did those jail projections with Mr. Garnos, these 60 ADPs in the 60s is kind of what he predicted before that big spike we had. That went up to roughly last fall, and so
What is our bed capacity right now?
96 beds.
Okay.
And that's if we have the proper amount of females, males,
Okay,
juveniles. So,
Okay.
yep. You want to scroll on down to the bottom a little bit there? In March, we collected $16,696.93 in out-of-county contracts. Collected $4,825 in work release fees. Collected $7,625 in 24/7 fees. And $6,733 in scram fees.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a quick question? So with the out-of-county contracts, is that just a matter of billing cycles mostly with that jump, or?
Yeah, it's just a matter of billing cycles and when we're getting payment in from other counties.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Are the I haven't had a chance to look at the detailed data for the past few months, but typically it was 10%, but then when we had 10% of out-of-county inmates, a little less than that, But then when the big spike happened, it probably went down to about 5. Is that kind
I'd
of,
say that's an accurate number. It's been staying low.
Okay.
Yesterday, we had 3 out-of-county inmates out of 58
yeah,
inmates.
yeah, so that's, yeah.
3 to 5%.
Yeah,
or something
okay,
there.
thank you.
What does grant fees, what do they all entail?
Scram fees are the bracelet, the monitor for the 24/7 program.
Is that the-
That's the fees to have that, they go back to the company to have that on your ankle.
Is that all ankle bracelets?
Ankle bracelets, yes.
That's alcohol.
That's a chemical, yeah.
Brad,
Alcohol
that scram is alcohol,
Yes.
not monitoring bracelets.
Yeah.
What do we take in monitoring fees? Is that under the 24/7 then?
The monitoring fees is not something we take in, that's something that the county pays for when we have somebody on work release. So that's not something, well, it's part of the work release fees, the $20 that they pay.
Okay.
So it's-
$20 a day work release fees?
Yes.
So it's an enhancement to the locator,
Yeah.
locator thing, or the location monitors, I guess is the way
Off
it's
the top of my head, I think it's around $2.75, $3 a day to have that on.
Yeah.
And we pay that to an outside company to monitor, or we monitor that in-house?
The outside company has the website and everything. In-house, we have to set up the parameters and we have to monitor in-house. Yep.
Okay, any questions for Brad? I don't know if any of you happened to hear the radio program yesterday morning, but I did stop and listen to Brad, and he talked a little bit about the new program, the
Oh, the reserves, yeah.
The reserve program.
reserve program. Do you want to just
Yep.
bring those that didn't hear it up to date? It's going well, I guess.
Yep, we got just around 30 applicants in for the Deputy Reserve Program. We're working on interviews here currently, kind of hopefully get that program up and going sooner than later. So that's kind of where we're at on that.
Very good.
Excellent.
Any other questions for Brad?
We'll be kicking off our spring training here real soon with PPCT, taser, firearms. So hopefully we can get rid of this rain and get stuff dried up a little bit.
Yep.
So,
Okay, thank you, Brad.
all right, thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks, Brad.
All right, item number 7 is action to appoint an interim highway superintendent. Before we do that, I would just like to take a moment or two on behalf of the commission here to publicly thank Rick for all the work that he's done in the past 4 or 5 years. Oh, no, I guess it's been longer than that. Was it 21 years or something like that?
22 was superintendent, 31.
31 altogether. Believe me, you're well known throughout the entire county, and most of the time everybody has spoken very highly of you. But
Some days are better than others.
sometimes when you do your job, people just don't understand, do they? You know, they just don't understand that it's for their own good. But we really appreciate everything that you've done, and want to congratulate you on your retirement, and hope that you catch some big fish. That's the important thing, and relax and enjoy your family. That being said, then let's go on with the action to appoint an interim highway superintendent. And in our discussions as of last week, we did, has it changed any? Are you still want to continue as the interim? So Mr. Rick Hartley is the individual that we're referring to here. He's,
I'll make a motion to
Second.
appoint that.
we have a motion by
Interim
Van Dusen, and a
Second
second
that.
by Hatton. What was say the motion one more time, just so we get
I'll
it
make the
correct.
motion that we appoint Mr. Rick Hartley as the interim superintendent for the highway department.
Okay, and we have a second to that. All in favor indicate, any discussion?
I just have one question. So you're moving up to interim soup. Do we maybe want to do an interim for your position that you're currently holding as assistant? What would you think?
What was discussed last week was the 60-day limit.
Right,
Yeah.
yep.
Right.
I think.
Oh,
That's why it's,
you'd be okay with that 60 days without having to, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's what was discussed last
Okay.
time was 60 days, and then we'll open up for application.
Okay, gotcha.
Then you would decide whether he needs to hire a maintenance to, or
Where he wants, okay,
assistant or whatever.
all right, I'm good with that.
Also in reference to our discussion, and I did have a chance, and I don't know if the rest of you had a chance to weigh in on, Terry was checking on the salary. And if we would go according to what normally would happen, Rick would have to take a drop in salary. So he's better off to continue with his current salary during this interim. Is that what you understood as well?
I hadn't heard anything.
Well, you hadn't heard anything. This is the news that you're hearing today.
Yes.
And we don't want you to have to take a drop in salary to move into the interim department head. So, Cindy, you are up to stuff on that and understand that?
Nobody has said anything to me.
Oh, well, we just did.
So we need to do a personnel, will we
Change
do a personnel form or not, if it stays the same?
Minimum starting with the highway superintendent is below his current wage.
Yeah,
You don't want to take a pay cut.
No, for the position.
No.
The board has the authority to start somebody outside above the minimum pay also. Yeah, that's the board's discretion.
And was I the only one that Terry sent that?
no, I got it.
No, I got the same thing, Mr. Chairman.
You remember exactly what it said? I thought maybe I would bring it up here and share it. You know how that is when you want to bring something up.
This won't go into effect until May 1st, so we do have the next meeting the
No,
next
you
week
don't.
to,
Well, May 1st is next Tuesday.
oh, it is, yeah.
Yep.
I'm still a
This
week
would be
off.
an interim for a 60-day period while we retrieve people, or not retrieve, but because we don't have a pile, but anybody that wanted to apply for that position.
Could after
Go
the
through
60 days.
Same thing as we went with the park.
I think one of the most important things is we want the highway department staff out there to know who the boss is, right?
Yeah.
And who's in charge, and along with that comes the responsibilities too. So if something goes good, you'll be here to get thanked for it, and if something goes bad, we'll be here also to help you out. And we'll get the salary thing worked out. If there's a change, we can do it. We could do it next week.
Correct.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor.
Do we need to have
repeat
the effective date would be May 1st for this to go into effect?
Probably.
Yeah, I
Add that
can
to
amend.
it.
Yep.
Do we need to amend the motion then?
Yeah,
at that
no,
point,
I'll
or-
just include it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay with that?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations, Rick. Congratulations. You make it easy for us. We just don't have to learn a new name now. Just another Rick.
Byron, I've got, this is not in line with that, this is a recent communication with the wind farm about the haul road agreement
Okay,
that we discussed. I have taken that to Rebecca,
okay.
her to review, so the reason I'm bringing that up is you're probably going to get a response from Rebecca, and I want you to have the information on that.
Okay. We will do. This is kind of a breezy subject, so,
Yeah, right.
all right. Anyway, thank you, Rick.
Thank you, gentlemen.
By the way, cake and coffee at the shop from 1 to 4 on Friday.
You bet.
1 to 4.
We'll be there.
Thanks, Rick.
I'll see ya.
Thanks, Rick, number 2.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't need it anymore.
Give him a reason to come
Get a
back.
copy
He
of that.
can float along without it.
Cindy scan it to the rest of us too.
What's that?
That what he just gave?
What would you want a copy of that for?
Well, to read what his take was, because it was a little different than what they were requesting.
Okay, let's go on then. Number 9, as long as we're in the hiring mood here. Number 9 is action to approve a contract for a Memorial Park campground manager. And I'm going to turn this over to Troy. Troy was on the interview committee, Troy and Commissioner Waterman.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we did conduct interviews this past week, and we had a lot of good applicants. It wasn't an easy decision. The committee did select and brings forth in front of the board here today for action to approve the selection of Milo Ford and his wife Carol Ford as park ground managers at Memorial Park.
Okay.
I would like to concur that with Mr. Van Duzen. It was not an easy process. We probably spent, if you tied it into one day, a whole day interviewing. And we had some very, very good applicants, and
Yeah, very good applicants.
very comfortable with Milo and with his wife and Milo.
And it should be an easy transition for them to move into the they already understand the reservation system, and as you know, we're cutting it close to the May 1st deadline of being ready to open up the park, so they will be ready to go on May 1st, and so I would make a motion to approve the hiring, the contract, which is a contract. It's not a county employee, it's a contract employee between the city and Carol Ford.
Okay, you've heard the motion.
County,
Second.
between the county.
County,
What did I say?
city.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Between the county, yeah. And motion by Van Dusen, second by Commissioner Waterman. Any discussion?
And this contract is a yearly contract, correct?
Yes, yes.
And just one,
Annual.
so the question is, so this, how does the supervision work? We're contracting them as a team, correct? To manage the park? Is that kind of how?
The contract was offered to Carol Ford, and I believe Milo, being her husband, will assist her with that as
okay,
well.
probably, yes.
So, as far as the supervision, I'm not sure who they report to.
I think that was my other question, was,
You know, I agree with that, Troy. I can think that, follow that, but with Carol being the contract, awarded to contract, Carol is going to have to be the supervisor.
but supervising the department cannot, it's not going to be the maintenance supervisor, it's not going to be Milo supervising
No.
the agency of the park. It would be the treasurer, I'm guessing.
Probably fall to
Yeah.
the liaison to the park,
Yeah,
commissioner liaison.
And then ultimately the commission.
yeah.
There is one other thing, it's kind of a side note. Milo did approach me, and we're not officially open yet, but somebody approached him to put a camper out there without the use of water or sewer, and just the electricity, and I didn't contact everybody else. I said, just go for it.
Okay. All right, any more discussion? Any more discussion? I think if somebody were to ask, as far as I know, our discussion on the board here was as far as Milo's responsibilities, a lot of the work that he will be doing out there will be after his normal working hours at the current job and weekends. And so that will he'll be a busy guy, but that's what the answer to that question can be. Any more discussion? Yes.
Just a couple more things on that for clarification for the people. This is a 5-month contract instead of a 6-month contract this year. The housing is for 12 months, or the balance of this year until it's renewed in January. That's the time we renew the contracts. The heat is paid. Phone and cable is their responsibility.
Correct, yeah. But it's the same contract that we've always had before.
Correct.
All right, any more discussion? Good discussion, though. Anything else? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. The motion carries. Thank you. All right, number 9 is we need action to appoint 3 real property owners to appraise tax deed property for auction. We will have some properties that will be up for auction this year. Has anybody given this any thought?
The treasurer has contacted 3 people.
All right.
They are all 3 property owners. They also do work for the county, which is perfectly acceptable. The treasurer has suggested Shauna Constant, who is the Director of Equalization, Jackie Manning, who works in the Register of Deeds office and formerly worked for First Dakota Title, and then our weed supervisor, Steve Molengrath, to appraise the 3 properties that we will be auctioning off. And the requirements are, according to law, the requirements are that the appraisers be 3 property owners within Cottington County.
Make a motion to approve those 3
We have
individuals.
a motion by Hatton, a second by Waterman. Any discussion? Any discussion?
And what they will do is, basically what they're going to do is set an opening bid amount for us to start with.
Very good. And that auction will occur,
June 12th, I believe, or the 19th. I can't, it could be the 19th.
it's in June, first part of
Oh,
June.
I'd have it down as the 19th.
19th,
Text
okay.
us it.
All right.
On the
yep.
courthouse steps, correct?
Yep, right down at the bottom of the stairs out here, yep, or the front door if it's weather appropriate.
A lot of times we refer to that as the sheriff's auction. Okay, any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. And then we need to look at changing the date for our June meeting from June 5th to June 7th. Is there a motion?
I'll make that
to-
motion.
Motion by Hatton, second by Gable. And that's simply because of the election.
Canvass the
And,
votes.
That's why we need to do that.
Yeah, you will be canvassing the votes on June 7th then. We'll actually be using this office on June 5th to process all the absentee ballots per our normal procedures.
Okay, any more discussion? Anything else? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Number 11 on the agenda, discussion possible action regarding a safety committee and appointment of a loss control safety coordinator and job description. Troy, you served on that committee. Thoughts? I was involved as well, so I'll help
And
out.
the
chip in.
insurance company wants us to create a job description for the safety coordinator. So, I just put all of this on here just to make sure we don't slide this under the rug and don't, make sure we keep moving forward with it. So I'm not sure exactly what your next move should be.
Mr. Chairman, just if I could ask, so is there, so the insurance company suggests having the key thing is a loss control safety coordinator as a separate job that somebody would
No.
hire, or just as a
No, just as,
an appointment?
somebody currently, employed by
staff.
the county.
Okay.
Yeah,
And-
employed by the county and,
This is kind of the process that we talked about when we were rewriting the
yeah, they're not requiring
manual.
us to put on an employee.
We just in discussion of the group that was working on this, we said, what we need to do is start out with the department heads and have all the department heads get together for an initial meeting. And at that initial meeting, then the department heads choose a person to represent the entire county as the
Safety coordinator.
safety coordinator for that year. And that was the process that we talked about. I think what we need to do here is to put a little meat into it. I know there's a couple of questions that came to me afterwards. Is there any monetary compensation for that department head to take on the responsibility as the safety coordinator? I didn't answer that question. I guess that's up to us. Is that what your take was on what our discussion?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mr. Chairman, and I think that, that is, it is a one-year term. Basically, we're asking a county employee to step up and be the safety coordinator. I don't think it's going to be a heavy lifting job. It's just going to be organizing the meetings and making sure that the offices get inspected when they're supposed to, and make sure that the employees are following what is outlined in the new safety manual that was just implemented. So That's basically the
Do you have any
what the
gut
position
feeling
entails.
on compensation, or should we not, or have some, or what would you think?
Well, I guess, it's such a new position, it's hard to say that I guess I don't feel that there needs to be additional compensation with that, because I don't think that the position's going to be that,
It's a coordinator position.
yeah, I mean, it's
It should, yeah.
basically,
It should fit within the regular workday.
yeah, we're not looking for someone to go outside of their normal work hours to do anything, so my recommendation is no additional compensation at this time until we have a chance to look at and evaluate really what the position's going to entail.
Okay, so you've heard the discussion.
I would be open for further discussion on this with additional commission. But those are my thoughts.
Is this one, something we're going to reappoint in January?
Basically, it's a group of individuals that come together that look at safety issues within the county. And at that first meeting, that position would be appointed by the rest of the group. They would select a safety coordinator, and then the safety coordinator is in charge of making sure that the meetings get scheduled and that it's being followed.
At the same time, we probably should look at appointing a liaison to this committee from the commission, some individual. Troy, would you be interested?
Yes,
in
Mr.
doing
Chair,
that?
I would. That would be
You
fine.
hear that? I heard that loud and clear.
Well,
Do you need a second, Mr.
there is
Chairman?
no action
No action, though.
scheduled, but maybe the first step would be to hold a department head meeting, maybe have Terry contact all the department heads, see what day would work. I'm not sure how quick, I mean, I know the treasurer's office is going to be busy for the rest of this month with tax collection. There may be a time in May, but if Terry could just send out a memo to all the department heads and to get back to him and set up some kind of department head meeting first.
Right. And then
Hash it out.
Mr. Chairman.
maybe there'll be volunteers possibly that
Could be,
step up.
Yeah, just looking at that, I'm just glancing at the safety manual now, and I see the safety committee's responsibilities noted. I might be missing it, but as far as how frequently it would meet and who's on it, I assume it means that probably the department heads is probably who it is, just glancing at it. But that might be, if you, maybe just a couple bullets to tighten that up, and then that might make it a little easier for us as we do this. And then, like you say, they appoint from, the safety committee at the beginning of the year, just like a lot of committees appoints their chairman, and that's the coordinator, or,
Okay.
So,
We did also talk somewhat about that meeting, that we don't think it needs to be a monthly meeting. We might consider a quarterly meeting would be sufficient
Yeah,
in
that makes
this
sense.
situation.
And there might be special meetings that are held if there is a safety issue that comes to light that has to be addressed.
just a minimum number of meetings.
Right.
Let that board decide that on themselves.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
okay,
first year
so,
is going to be,
that being said, let's kind of recap what our marching orders are, and who's going to do the marching, or coordinating, or whatever. We're saying at this point in time, please correct me if I'm wrong, that the next step would be for, I'll ask Terry to get the department heads together, and Troy, we'd like to have you attend that get together for the first time with the intent of appointing a safety coordinator from that group. At that time, Terry may want to start writing a job description. I don't know if he wants to do it ahead of time or what. I'll talk to Terry in reference to that, as to what the responsibilities of that safety
I
coordinator
think
will be.
I think Safety Benefits has an example.
sure they have an
that we can-
example.
We don't have to, we don't have to create something, but,
We don't want to reinvent the wheel.
right.
It's already rolling. You
We'll
bet.
try and remember to contact them to get the shell, whatever it is they've got.
Troy?
I guess I would like to have some additional discussion on how you folks feel about additional compensation for taking on that role. Is it something that we want to try out to see what kind of feedback we get from the department heads first, or is it something that we should consider? I mean, it's not in the budget,
Yeah.
you know, so.
I mean, if I could come up with I think my observation would be, you know, I've had other jobs where, you know, it kind of rotates around. You get appointed safety officer for the year, and you know, if it takes, you know, sorry, you know, you're not going to get paid any extra, because safety is really everybody's business.
Sure it is.
So,
Yep.
And in theory, at least, it should not take one outside the regular workday. If it, you know, if it looks like, well, we had that wrong, then yeah, come back and revisit it. That'd be my view anyway.
Okay. And I agree with that, Lee. I just wanted to know what your thoughts
Okay.
were on it. So
We have no action on this, so we will go with that and
Thank you.
use it for information purposes only, okay? Everybody all right with that? Number 12, action to approve a letter of support for the Veterans Cemetery of South Dakota. Don, you have been sitting there patiently. We appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. Please come forward. And this is in your request.
Don, I'm going to have you pick up that mic there and just talk into the mic.
Please introduce yourself so the press will know.
Don Rackanu with the with the Veterans Cemetery of South Dakota. I'm one of the board of directors.
Okay, and please restate your request for us, would you?
Our request is to have the county commissioners' support in building our cemetery.
Okay, that being said, there was a sample letter sent out, and I know that there are 3 veterans on the board here, and I want you to know that we certainly support the veterans organizations, all of them. Lee had some thoughts. Lee is one of our retired veterans, and he did make a rewrite to that letter, but also had some other recommendations that, would you share with us?
I think they're in the letter. I'll put it on the screen here in a minute. But just, yeah, I appreciate what you guys are trying to do. You know, the goal seems to be proper internment, adequate internment for veterans in a way that honors them.
Yes.
And so that's the basic goal. And so we had the sample letter. I'm going to put it on the screen so everybody can see it. Here's, so you can see what we're thinking about. So that's the letter we saw in there. Had a chance to talk to the mayor, just to make sure we're all kind of in sync, working on the same page. And so we the basic thing is we thought we could make this letter a bit more concrete. And since the city's talking about forming this committee, we want to be supportive of that effort, because you know the real goal is to get that right solution. And so so the basic gist of it, you can, I don't know if you can read that on the screen for people that might be interested. So since the basic gist of it though would be, let's figure this out. You know, we support yours and the city of Watertown's thought. I guess I'll make this a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we do a letter with this amendment, or this edit, and then we can talk about it if somebody wants to discuss. But so the idea is that we offer something a bit more concrete than just saying, yeah, we support it, but we want to offer up our participation in that committee so we can help arrive at a good solution.
We think the committee is good. We were glad to see the mayor take the interest to organize a committee of city council people to work with us in solving out these issues that they're concerned with.
Yeah, so that's good. So it sounds like
it's a good thing.
Yeah. So I think what I'm suggesting, and it depends on what the other commissioners think, obviously, too, is...
So you have made a motion. Do you want to get a second before you continue discussion?
Yeah.
It might help. Okay.
Would you repeat the motion, though, so that we know what we're going to say?
Yeah, okay. The motion is to authorize the chairman to sign the letter with the edit shown on the screen. And then And I have a second.
And I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion by Gable, a second by Van Duzen.
I'm sorry for my...
Now we'll open
description
it up
of
for
this.
more discussion.
Yeah, so essentially, the gist of it is that we want to support the right solution to providing the adequate internment space in a way that honors the veterans of Northeast South Dakota, because we understand this is going to be a regional, the idea is to have some kind of a regional internment capability.
Yes, yes.
And space that meets the needs, the likely needs well into the future. And I can imagine, I've never planned a cemetery, or I can imagine that you have to think way into the future on this, but I've thought about a jail a lot. But anyway, and so to that end, we're glad that the city and you are working together to get a committee together to talk about it, to come up with that solution, analyze the need. So the concrete thing about it is we'd offer possibly a Veterans Assistance Officer or one of us to serve on that committee. So
The Veteran Service Officer?
the Veterans Assistance Officer, yeah.
VSO.
The county, yeah.
You're not in reference to,
Al Jansen.
Yeah.
yeah, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So, I mean, one or the other, one, the other, or both. So, but that's kind of not. We'd have to figure that one out. Exactly who has the time and ability to do that. So, so that's my motion.
Okay. Could you read that back, Cindy? No.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was kind of meandering. I didn't rehearse. So.
Can
I
I,
basically will have a motion and a second. I will insert
That
the
sounds
letter that with Lee's edit.
The amended
minutes
changes on that.
To show what we are approving.
Yep.
That would
I
be a good
guess my
More discussion.
question, my question at this time is, why do we need to do this at this point until the city really, and the group, get to some sort of understanding or know the process and going forward with this? I don't know why we need to even enter into any sort of agreement at this point.
I don't think it's. I don't think this implies an agreement. I mean, I guess
This is just more lending our support to the
Yeah.
project than an agreement.
We don't want to get too specific and lend our. The goal here is I didn't want to, because the concept really hasn't been fully defined. So if we say we support the concept, we don't want to imply that we're supporting a particular exact
Right.
solution,
Right.
because we want to work with the city and
Well,
with you guys.
and that's my point. I
And
guess
so
I don't.
We're just supporting the idea of doing it right, basically. So, I mean, I'd be fine either way, personally, but I think if we want to demonstrate some support to the veterans community, that's just a way to do it. So,
Commissioner Waterman.
If I understand this correctly, this is a letter of support. This is in no way a monetary support
That's correct.
for the thing.
Yep.
Just a, you guys are doing a good job, and we support what
With
you're
also
doing.
the understanding that Cottington County will provide a liaison to their committee.
that's the key part. So if we're not comfortable with that, then we should say no.
Right.
I mean, so,
Right.
but if we're comfortable with that, then there's something concrete that we can say, if we're comfortable with it. So,
And I guess I've had conversations with the mayor also, and I would appreciate to be a part of that working committee.
so okay,
So,
great.
Okay, any more discussion? I don't mind has to sign this letter, so.
Yep.
But I'm signing it on behalf of the board.
Yeah, and I happened to be able to speak to the mayor this morning, and she was with she was good with this idea. So hopefully we understood each other, but I
right.
think we did.
Yeah, just so that we're all in.
Yeah.
Don, are you all right? You understand what we're,
Yeah, and I thank you, we thank you for your interest and your willingness to get involved. That's important, and we appreciate that.
yeah,
I
that,
do have a question.
Yes.
Do you want 2 letters signed, one from the chairman and the rest of the board? Or just?
We left it open because we
Okay.
didn't know which way you would prefer
Okay, all right.
to
all
do
right.
it.
I think the one that we're talking about is the one that Lee drafted. That would be the only
The
that's
other,
mine.
well, there were 2. There was another draft where you all.
I get the impression that they were different choices.
Yeah, okay.
so-
I just wanted to clarify
that's-
that we only need to adopt one and,
Not this.
Letter was the same.
okay, all right.
all right?
So the only thing that we are signing, though, is the form that Lee has, correct?
That's my
This-
motion.
Yes,
That's-
that's my
This may be
understanding.
right here.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question? So are y'all, is everybody, because I don't want to, you know, if you all, we all have to be comfortable with
I'm
that.
okay with it.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
All right, any more discussion? Anything else?
We appreciate what your group is doing, Don.
Thank you, thanks for your help.
Yes, we very much appreciate the work that you've put into it. You've put a lot of work into it already, I know.
It's not an easy thing. It can be it can be a little bit complicated, so
Yeah,
that
it's
committee
not.
will have its work.
All right, we have a motion, a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I will sign this letter and we will get it. Who are we gonna send it to? Says Dear Veterans
Veterans
Cemetery
Cemetery.
Board of Directors.
On our letterhead, there's a PO box,
Okay,
501.
yep, all right.
Okay?
And so with the rest of you, you're fine if I join the mayor in that working group?
All right.
I would like to
We'll get
see
it on.
Commissioner Gable, Lee, if you're interested in being a part of that.
Let's hold that one for a separate motion. But
Thank you.
Okay.
At a separate time.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Don. All right, let's go on then. The next item is abatement application.
No abatements today, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, yeah, sorry, that's good. How about action to approve claims for payment? We have some of those.
We have a few
No?
claims outside of the normal bill day. First one is to the South Dakota Department of Labor and Regulation. This is for someone, a seasonal employee who has filed for unemployment benefits. The amount of that check is $1,560. The second one is to the City of Watertown for the February 911 collections in the amount of $22,475.36. And then we have our monthly Reliabank Visa charges. The first one is to Visa in the amount of $244.89. That was for a bid notice in the Argus Leader for our courthouse remodel project and new phones for the welfare office. Second Visa claim is for $121.41. It's for the sheriff's office for postage and fuel. And the final one is to Visa in the amount of $414.77, and it's for a radio and pager accessory for the emergency management
Move
office.
to approve.
We have a
those
motion to approve the claims.
claims.
Second? Motion by Hack, second by Gable. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We have any budget supplement?
Oh, I'm sorry, we do have one more set of claims today, and
Oh, yeah.
those are the salary claims.
Our salary claims,
The
yes.
month of April.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Hatton to approve the salary claims. A second by Van Duzen. Any discussion?
Total salary claims are $522,544.22.
And that is in your packet as well. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Budget supplements.
None today.
And none. Action to approve personnel changes.
I have two personnel changes. The first one is part-time Deputy Sheriff Cameron Camlitz. He has reached enough hours to advance to the next step on the Deputy Sheriff pay scale, which will be step 3, $22.17 an hour. And then we have a seasonal Memorial Park janitor position in the amount of step 1, $13.97 an hour, and the employee that Milo has approved is Kathy Austin.
All right, we have a couple of
Make a
them.
motion to approve
We have a
those.
motion by Van
Second.
Duzen, second by Waterman. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Travel requests. We've
No
got.
travel requests today. Unless I've missed something somewhere.
Oh, these are those.
Yeah, those are those.
Yeah. All right, then, how about old business? Any mature business this morning?
Mr. Chairman, just a couple quick things on the remodel. There is a meeting, a pre-construction meeting on Monday the 30th with the architect and representatives from Mills Construction, and then also, just for as update, the chairman did sign the contract paperwork, and so we sent that on to the contractor. And this is very tentative, but in just a bit of an email exchange, early May, it looks like when they get started with the actual construction. So their target date was May 7th, but that's to be determined, I guess, at the construction meeting, or the pre-construction meeting rather. And so, and if I don't have the exact time right now, but that is scheduled for Monday.
All of the paperwork on our end has been done.
Yep, and then there's, a lot of the supplements to the contract is basically that set of bid documents, so that the plans basically, so that they follow the plans, so.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
How about new business? Got any new business this morning? Any new business? Anything for the open then?
I have several events that we could possibly have a quorum of commissioners at. There is a weed meeting, I believe, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. That would be out at the extension. Let's see, on
Is that
Friday.
just for the committee though?
I guess, I don't know if other people can go. I'm thinking it's open.
I think it's for,
We met a week ago.
Oh, it was last week's?
Yes.
Okay,
I was
then
gonna
take
say, I
that
thought
off.
it was just a board meeting.
No, we had a board meeting a week ago.
Yeah.
All right, then take
Or
that off.
a week ago, Monday night or something like
I
that.
had jotted it down, yeah, I suppose he wasn't, he changed. Okay, anyways, then there's going to be the going away party, or retirement party, I should say, for Rick at the Highway Department from 1 to 4, Friday afternoon. There is the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes for the Beacon Center from 5 to 8 p.m. at County Fair Banquet Hall. And that pre-construction meeting, I guess.
Yeah, it's at 1 o'clock on the 30th, I just verifying that time.
And what, in this? that-
But in this room,
This
yeah,
room?
it's, worker bee type meeting, I guess, so I have not been to one myself, so,
Okay.
but commissioners are welcome. Monday the 30th.
All right, anything else for the open?
And reminder on the, let's see, there is a pre-bid meeting, I should have mentioned this before, there is also a pre-bid meeting for the sprinkler system contract on May the 1st, which is the afternoon after. And I hope I scheduled this room, I think I did. I didn't?
Not on May 1st.
Okay, I thought I did.
What time
Maybe it was
is
the
what time
30th,
is that?
at 1 o'clock again.
1 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had that in, so you
Yeah.
mentioned that before.
Yeah.
I didn't mention
But I
anything for next Tuesday, because I thought I can wait and do it Tuesday.
Pre-bid meeting for the fire suppression system.
Yeah, for the sprinkler system, so.
Okay, anything else? I will be involved tomorrow and Thursday along with a committee that will be reviewing some RFPs for some improvements and some restoration and all kinds of different things at Lake Kempesca. There's a lot of stuff. Anyway, we've got, and this will be just to choose a engineering firm from the applications that come in to bring forth different ideas, costs, timelines, and so on and so forth. So we'll be tied up with that most of tomorrow and then Thursday afternoon. So that's where I will be for a couple of days. Anything else for the open? Chris, sitting out here pretty quiet. Have you got anything for the open? I don't know.
I do not, unless you guys had any questions of the Watertown Development Company.
This gentleman is new chair of the Watertown. Chair? Is that the name?
Yeah.
Executive Director, okay. We want to get the title right of the Watertown Development. Welcome to Watertown. I think you were here and we introduced you one other time. Were you here before?
No.
This is the
First time you've been here?
May, so,
Oh, okay. Now you know where we're at.
that's right.
Okay, very good. You got some busy days ahead of you. There's quite a few empty storefronts out there that we want to see filled up.
That's true.
But we did, last week, we made note of it, and there's been more press since then on the addition of the new Terex building and facility in Watertown. it kind of hits home, that particular thing. Commissioner Waterman's wife works for Terex. My son and my daughter-in-law both work for Terex, so we have a lot in. We're really glad to see him stay in Watertown.
Yes, that's a big one.
That's a big one, yeah.
Along with about 598 more people.
So. Is it? Yeah, there's quite a few people. Yes, so very, very good.
Okay.
Or is it SCH, something like that?
They make more of these.
Thank you very much.
I was visiting with some people yesterday,
Hope these aren't Vista.
the one lady said, well, the one I'm really going to miss is Herbert. I said, the one that I really miss is Penny's, and you know, we all have our favorites that aren't there anymore, so. Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for being here, we appreciate it. Anything else for the open? Is there any need for an exec session? I have had no requests.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Hatton to adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
Motion, second by Gable.
Unanimously.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Did I see on Facebook?